Very cheap Amazon knockoff Harley CV carb. Does it work better or as good as the OEM carb? I have no idea, but we're going to find out today by George. Welcome back to Butler Customs Motorcycle Shop. Why do tell would you order a $50 carb from China off Amazon or Taiwan or somewhere else? I don't know where they come from. Well, that's what the customer wants. They've got a CV carb on their bike, an OEM carb, and they've had issue after issue after issue. Now this is a 2001, so this is 24-year-old carb. Is this cheap Chinese knockoff gonna do the job for them? Well, they wanted to pull the trigger and find out. So here's what I want to do. I want to get their carb off. This is just one I've got sitting around the shop, a CV. But let's get the carb off of their bike. Let's take it over to the bench and compare the two. Now, I've never bought one of these, but I'm kind of impressed looking at it. It looks like a brand new CV carb. There are some things I've heard that you have to do to these. If you're looking just to swap out a carb on your bike, on your older bike, and you buy this and you think you can just throw it on and go down the road, don't do that. So you're gonna have to check some things in this carb. You're gonna have to open it up just for peace of mind. And I wanna show you some things to check that I know you should check. And from what I can tell, this is going to work great. They must have stole the plans from somebody because they look absolutely identical. Besides the Harley logo, there's no markings on these, but any hoose and house. Let's get this over to the bench, compare it to this one. So let's take this carb off, get over the bench. Now you say, why are they wanting to go with a brand new knockoff carb? A couple of reasons. Like I said, they've had issues and issues and issues with this carb. The main issue is that sometimes they'll forget to turn the petcock off and gas will bypass the float no matter how much you set it, no matter how much new float needles you put in it, no matter how much you clean it. I don't know if there's a crack inside the carb itself that is causing gas to weep, and it goes into the jugs, it runs down there, it goes into the motor oil, which is not good. So this is going to have to be, we're going to have to drop the oil in this. All the oil from the tank is gone. So it's all in the case. So we're going to have to probably dry crank it to try to get some of that out. Not only that, it's just bad on the motor. It's bad on any brass inside there. Gasoline is like a detergent. Actually, if you talk to any old gas station owners, they would usually just turn the pump on and spray off their parking lot. It's a good cleaner, but you don't want that in your motor. You want the oil to be built up as a lubricant on everything internal. Well, when you introduce a detergent in it, like gas, not only does it thin the oil out, but it like cleans everything in there and strips it of the lubricant. And so it's really, really bad on the motor. So I think this is the second or third time this has happened on this particular bike. So there's definitely an issue with the carb. That's the first reason. The second reason, these things are like $300–400. Then when you do buy them, you got to buy a rebuild kit and you hope and pray that nothing's cracked or damaged inside there. This being so cheap could be a good option. And when we take it apart and look at the guts and the interior, what we might discover, if you need to rebuild your original carb, you might just want to buy one of these just to strip it for the parts you need out of this. And a new gasket and diaphragm, it's literally probably cheaper. We'll compare it, but it's probably cheaper than buying a rebuild kit for this. If these parts work in this. Don't know. Now, the one I bought, we'll go over the price. I'll show you everything it come with. It come with a lot of different jets, both pilot, auto jets, and main jets as well. It came with, of course, the choke. It came with a lot of clear tubing and fuel lines, which I don't recommend to use that. So I won't be. It came with spark plugs. Do they fit this bike? Probably not, but it's spark plugs. But is this worth it? Now, I've always had that question myself. So we're going to discover that in this video. So let's get this carburetor off, get it ready to be disassembled. I don't think there's any fuel in it. I think it's all in the engine, but let's get it off and then get it over on the bench. All right, we'll go ahead and get this aftermarket air filter off and all of its washers and spacers and doodabbers off of here. How you doing today? What projects are you working on? Now, in the 2001 model on the Sportster, it does have breather bolts, so you want to make sure you put things back in order as it came off. And listen, you might say, oh man, you got another Sportster on the lift. Well, listen, these Harley CV carbs, Harley used them on everything back in the day. If you got a Softail, an old Softail Evo or something, you probably got a CV carb on it. If you got a touring bike, if you've got a Dyna, if you got a FXR, you probably have one of these on there. Now, I do have to take this off from the carb itself. If I was just pulling the carb, I would go release the choke, get the fuel line off, and just pull the whole thing off, get the throttle cables out. But I want this housing to go on the new carb. So this just twists off here. Probably should have done that before I took the bolts out, but you know me, I have no plans. Somebody over tightened this right here because it put a little wave in the filter, but the filter's still good, so we'll use that. Now we can access our 3 plate bolts here. I believe they're 3/16. They are. And I've always been curious about this, about these aftermarket carbs. They're so cheap, and you think, man, how can they make them that cheap? But I guess if they're making them, you know, in the hundreds of thousands and producing them like that, I guess they can afford to do that. I'm not sure. And I'll tell you, there's one thing I see already that I like about the cheap Amazon carb. I don't think there's any fuel left in the tank anyway. The thing I already see I like, Harley CV carbs. They went through some years. They put plastic fittings in here. They get old, they heat up, they cool down, they heat up, they cool down, being right here by the jug. And they just get brittle and they break. The brand new carb, look at this. A brass fitting. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This old one here, well, where's the inlet? Okay, it's got kind of a brass fitting as well that you'd put a connector on, a nipple on, so very, very good. I like it already. Let me go to the other side, release the choke lever, get it down out of the way. On this bike, if you remember, if you've been watching my videos, we did an ignition on this. And I'm pretty certain we deleted that VOES system because you can do that on aftermarket ignitions. I believe we installed a Dyna on this. Now I should be able to slide it off the boot. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. All right, there's my choke now. Yeah, we did cap this off, which again, we just run a little piece of tube with a bolt in the top, but this actually comes with a nice cap to go ahead and cap it off. So that's good already. Now save on this intake boot. Let me check it out. Oh yeah, I think I put this new one on last year maybe. All right, there's our drain tube there. Now we can have access here to our throttle cables. I'm going to take the whole linkage off right here, this arm. The new one does come with linkage. It looks to be a little different. It looks like it angles back and side a little bit more. And we're going to measure the links as well. So when I take the cables out, I'm going to go ahead and put this bracket back on the carb so we can measure, you know, what's the distance between here and here. Are my cable lengths going to be the same, or am I going to have to adjust those? All right, so to get the bracket off, I'll take this top diaphragm cover screw out. Oh, it's got some fuel in it. Oh, that looks like nasty fuel. So I know that this bike does not get ridden much at all, and that doesn't help matters either. It is terrible, terrible, terrible for a bike to just set. It's terrible on everything. Slide that bracket off, then we can just get these cables off here. Yeah, that's really old fuel. Let me see if I can dump some of it to get a visual for you on it. Just got a little gasoline container here that McDonald's gives you every time you go there. Yeah, that's not too bad, but it you can smell it. It's varnished fuel. Doesn't smell good at all. Yeah, that's old fuel. Okay, so now that this is off, I do want to put the bracket back on. If I can find, oh, there it is. And then we can go over to the bench and start looking at things and seeing how they compare. So with the majority of fuel out, let me just verify by taking the, I don't like to use these because oftentimes they break. They've been in there so long and nobody uses them. Okay, so just a couple drips of fuel. Tighten that back. How does that look on this one? Very, very similar. There. Okay, let's get these over to the bench. Let's sit down and talk and discuss and measure and compare and take apart and all that good stuff. So if you order one of these, they'll just kind of come bubble wrapped in a box with some stuff. Now, it didn't come with these. These are James fork seals for that bike because the left fork seal is blown out. Hit a big pothole, blew it out. So we're going to be, I'm going to be doing fork seals as well. It comes with these little cleaners and doodabbers. These are nice. I use these all the time. I use these a lot to clean out thread holes. Really, really good. It comes with 2 random spark plugs. Don't know what they go to. No idea. D8TC. Not even got a manufacturer label on them. Do not use these. Don't trust something like that for your machine. Use them in the kids' go-kart and in the lawnmower and things like that would be fine. I would not use them on a motorcycle. It did not come with this. I ordered this off Dennis Kirk, this and this. Reason for that, I'm like, well, did you turn the fuel off? Yes, but maybe gas is still leaking out. I think the last time we had some trouble with the petcock, I think we rebuilt it and it worked fine. So maybe it's failed. It's a cheap insurance. Just go ahead and get a new one. So I got a new petcock. Since we deleted that VOES, we can go with just the gravity flow one, not a vacuum one. It comes with these fuel lines. I guess they're supposed to be fuel lines. Very, very thin. I just wouldn't use those. It comes with the choke as well. We'll compare that with the other choke. I'm going to leave that in there actually for now. And that, and that, and that. And it comes with a fuel filter. Now again, I don't know, there's no label on this fuel filter. There's no markings on this fuel filter. I don't even see a flow of direction on this fuel filter. So this is a very, very cheap fuel filter that will probably separate and come apart, clog up. Don't use that either. Again, on your lawnmower or something like that, that's fine. And then it also comes with some different size main jets and pilot idle jets. So that's what you get in the box. So for the carburetor, all the things that comes with it included in the box, which I would not use everything that comes with it. I just wouldn't. $43 and some change from Amazon here in 2 days. These CV carbs, I'm guessing around $300. You can find them used for maybe $100, then another $50 good quality gasket rebuild kit. Then who knows what's broke inside of it. If this works and this is good quality, then man, that's the way to go. I mean, this costs the price of a gasket kit, rebuild kit for this. Now, there are some things I see that I like and I don't like. The first thing is this. The plastic here, and look how it's already boogered up and thinned out just from sliding on and off. You can over tighten the clamp on the hose and crack these. Not only that, you can try to get a stuck hose off here, fuel line, and you're gonna break this. These don't twist out, they will break as old as they are. I like this. It's brass fitting. It's in there. Make sure it's good and tight. When they put these things together, who knows how quick they're assembling one of these and getting it out the door. So it's a good thing to just always check everything. Now, as far as quality, this looks like a much more machined face here than this, so would probably make for a really good seal. But now new, this might have come like that as well 24 years ago. On this side, the butterflies look really good. They look machined the same. The operation of the butterfly and the spring and accelerator pump feel very, very tight and very good. See, even this has a little stick to it, but it feels very, very comparable. I don't feel any weakness in it. It feels really smooth and the same. Besides the branding, they look identical. And who knows, maybe Harley had these dudes making the carbs back then, and you know, they don't do the carbs anymore, so the company said, hey, let's just keep on trucking. We'll take the Harley off here, we'll take the little KV or CV off here, we'll take the Harley logo off there. Let's just keep staying in business. It looks very, very comparable. Now, for comparison, this is a 27-480-97. So this is a CV40. I do want to measure the distance from here to my cable and the distance from here to this cable. I want to see how they compare here, because there might be some adjustments we need to make on the throttle side, which is fine, not a big deal. But looking at this piece as well, it's made a little different. So this just has kind of one arm going up. This seems to be a little bit beefier, come out a little bit more than the other. The angle that this right here comes out is more back toward the left side of the bike if you're sitting on the bike, and this one's kind of more up. This is kicked back a little bit more than this one right here as well. The stops look the same. Of course, we'll be adjusting the idle on it as well. If you look at the butterfly valve here, as you give it gas, the butterfly opens up for more air to come in, and of course for the fuel to squirt in. But you'll see it's got a cutout here, maybe for a different application, where this one does not. But the retainers look the same. Everything looks the same besides this right here. It does have a little capped off orifice here that this does not have. As far as how they line up, they look like they line up well. Of course, this will be on this side. If it had the stamping on it, you would think it's a CV carb from Harley, but there are some things you can tell maybe they kind of skimped on a little bit. Here's one of them. The Harley carbs came coated, or maybe some type of different aluminum on this, I'm not sure. But it's to prevent oxidization. On this carb, maybe it is, but it doesn't look like it. I can see where it's been packaged here. Maybe it did have some type of application on it, but it's very thin and coming off. As an example, on this carb, you can scratch it, nothing comes off of it. On this, you can scratch it and you can already see the raw metal. So it does have a coating on it, but not anything that's permanent. Now maybe over 24 years it just kind of adheres itself very well to the CV carb. I don't know. Oxidization is important Because if you let a bike set, let me show you an example of what will happen. That right there is oxidization from just water being in the air of the carburetor and oxidizing what's in the carburetor. So I think these would be fine with the coating that they have as long as you run the bike. If you're going to let the bike set for any amount of time, I would probably pull this off and maybe spray some wax on it or something on the outside. I'd pull the float bowl off, leave it off, spray some wax or something. I've heard WD-40 is a good kind of preservative for them. I'm not sure. I think that might dry out. Maybe if you put it in a container or a Ziploc baggie or something, it would be fine. Now I do see that on the slide, though this one is very dirty, they did use a different material or coat it different on the slide itself. Because on the slide, you can see the difference in color and you cannot scratch that coating off. Now the operation of the slide sounds very good. The spring might be a little bit weaker, but hey, that's probably a good thing when you get on the juices. Operation of it. An operation of this. Yeah. So because of maybe a newer or weaker spring in here, it's coming up a lot better. Boy, you can taste that bad gas in there. Woo. Okay, so again, if you're going to buy this carburetor, do not just throw it on your bike. Especially if you've got a bike that's got maybe an aftermarket cam in it, different exhaust pipes, straight pipes, if it's been tuned in any way, if it's got a different ignition in it that might run a little more advanced on you. You're going to want to match the jets that came out of the bike. If they thread in there, if these jets from here thread into here and they did not supply me the proper jets, I would feel okay using the jets out of this for the new carburetor. But you do need to go inside here, at least swap the jets out, see what size jets are in there, and also just check things. So let's go ahead and start digging into this. But before we do that, I want to measure here what our throttles are different wise. The distance is different. I don't know what I'm saying here. So I've got some different things to maybe measure with. I don't know how accurate this is going to be. I'm just curious, and it really doesn't matter, I guess, because you can adjust the throttles. Okay, so this right here is much shorter distance than this, almost a ½ inch shorter, 1 3/4. Then from here, yeah, so that's almost a whole inch different from here to here, from here to here. This is much shorter. So what I might do in this situation to keep the throttle kind of feeling the same, because I don't know if I'd be able to get a whole inch out, almost a whole inch out of play on that cable. So what I might do, since I think everything will link up right, is take this off and swap it over here. Will it work? I don't know. I don't know how well these are kind of cloned, but let's see. Also be very careful taking these screws out. They might be a different quality of screw than what you're used to, so just be very, very careful. And then this one here at the top. It is nice to see that they do use, looks like pretty good hardware for these. And also, I see already it's got the little brass spacer and protector that this bracket sets on top. So when you screw this down, it doesn't crack this plastic housing. Very nice. Now, just for giggles, just for funsies, let's go ahead and just pull this out. I want to keep our bolt hardware separate. Take this off. Will this work? Maybe without this in there. So we'll take that spacer out. Looks like this rounded thing is a little bit more round than this one. just to compare if you put it on this. Oh yeah. But you could, if you wanted to use this, drill that hole out a little bit bigger, and I think it would work once it sets down on there. I'm pretty certain it would line up. So if we need to use this, we can just drill this little cutout here a little bit bigger and use this. I think that'll work. Let's compare slides. We'll go ahead and take our other 3 bolts out here. It doesn't feel like things have been like power tooled on or anything, so that's nice. Now the screw for this bracket will be longer, so remember that when you go to put it back. You want to make sure that longer screw gets in to the correct spot for the bracket side. And one more, I'll hold the top here, and then we'll slowly take this off. There's our spring, there's our needle keeper, there's our top. Now I want to stop there. I want to take apart this one and let's compare piece by piece. You know, if you were needing a rebuild kit for your carb and you were needing, say you had a broken diaphragm cover but you needed a rebuild kit as well, and you needed some other things, this would definitely be worth it just to buy it for parts and take it apart. From what I'm seeing right now, it looks pretty good. All right, so we'll take this out. Let me go ahead and get the little keeper out there. We'll compare those as well. Okay, let's set this over here. All right, so I got a pile, this little divider right here. This side's the new stuff, this side's the old stuff. Okay, first thing, on the CV carb, it has screws that have a washer kind of made into them. It has shoulders here, and then the screw. On the new carb, it has a washer and a lock washer. They won't come off, so that's good. They stay on it, but they're not made into the head. The screw head looks good and deep. They are black, that's good. The thread pitch is the same, that's good. But you'll notice they're not shouldered. So let's look at the cap now. Here's the old cap, here's the new cap. So they look very, very similar. Very, very similar. Now, why do they have these shoulders on here and this one doesn't? Well, the shoulders help to keep the top aligned and make a good seal. So see, this screw in here does not move around because of that shoulder. And it's shouldered to the correct depth. So if I was to take this and put it in here, will it even fit? No. So then when you take the screws and put it in there, you can't use these old screws to go in there, and look at the slop that you get there. Now, is it going to cause problems? Probably not. But it's just those little things like that that make a big difference in knowing it's secure. I don't want to get these mixed up. Okay, here's the CV spring. Here's the new spring. See the difference there? That's what I was feeling when I would push the slide up. So it's a smaller spring. The thickness of the wire looks the same, but with that shorter length, you're going to get not as much tension. And maybe that's how they're designed. When I squeeze them here, when I squeeze this one has more tension. And when you compress this to put this in, it's going to have a lot more tension. Why would that be important? The only time it would be important is when you let off the throttle and you get that snap back. You want that slide coming down as quick as it can. Will that be an issue? Probably not. Would I buy this to race with? Absolutely not. You're probably, for the average rider, not going to feel the difference in the snapback. Now, can this spring go in there? Absolutely, it sure can. So we can use this spring if we don't like the snapback response. Now, these are just the needle keepers. They look the same. I don't see any difference in these besides color at all. So here is the diaphragm, the slide, and the needle. The diaphragm, the slide, and the needle. On an inspection in the top, they look identical. besides a little cutout here. Huh, but I like that. Okay, here's another thing I like about the cheap carb. When you're trying to screw these things in, they're a pain in the no, they're a pain in the rump, because you don't have any room to get anything up in there besides needle nose pliers. And of course you can't put a socket on it. But look what they did here. I noticed this inside. I'm like, what are those little ridges for? If you look on the inside, they gave you a cutout, and that this is moved down. So as a comparison, look how much more room you have to put a tool in there, a wrench in there, compared to that. That's a nice little touch. I like that. That's to me, I would call that an improvement. Now, how do the slides compare? Let's go ahead and take the needle out. Of course, if you're doing this at your house, in your garage, be careful. You might have some spacers that are underneath this needle, so be careful of that. We'll take this needle out as well. There's no spacer in it either. Needle comparison looks to be about the same. This has a marking NGK. This one has no marking that I can see on it. As far as links, and they're even there. Now, as far as depths, you know, caliper wise, are they going to be any different up at the thickness? No. Okay, so to me, I would say these needles are very comparable. Now, as far as the slide, again, see the difference in color in this slide compared to the side? Very, very different. Hey, in the future, I'm going to get a big spotlight right over this desk for when we do things like this. So I apologize for the low lighting situation. So here are the slides. They look very much the same thickness in the side of the slides. They look like they are engineered exactly the same. Of course, this can be tooled. This has cuts here to be tooled to come off, to just replace the diaphragm, not the whole slide. This one does as well. The diaphragm material seems very good. It's not thin, it's very pliable. Okay, I had a good friend show up, Bubba. He wanted to see our new shop project bike that I showed our members, that hopefully everybody will be seeing coming up soon. Maybe next week, I don't know. Maybe the week after, but it's super cool. I think you'll like it. He wanted to come up, put his peepers on it. So anyway, where were we? Float bowls, maybe? So you'll squeeze that diaphragm. If there's gas in here, it'll shoot out of here. You can put your finger over this hole, put your tongue over this hole. It should feel air squirt out. If you do, it's working good. You should hear a rattle. There's a little, almost looks like a float needle down in there. Make sure it's not stuck. That one's good. Of course, we're not going to be using that. But now let's see how this compares with our new one. I was showing Bubba, who is very old school, what I was doing in this new carb, and he was kind of impressed too. I'm just saying, he kind of liked my idea of, if you need something off a carb to rebuild your old carb, why not just buy this and get the parts off of it if they work. There we go. I'm gonna be careful with this. There's our boot, we'll set there. I'm telling you, I cannot see any difference in these besides a couple of things. They've moved the accelerator hole that fuel goes through this tunnel into here, comes out here. They have moved it up here instead of it being down here. There's nothing up here. But again, I don't know if later on Harley changed that in the CV carbs to move it up there. Might be. So this model might be based off a newer, updated version. There's also a cutout here to feed oil or feed fuel into here. The gasket looks very, very good. It looks like a good quality gasket. The tube for the overflow feels good. It's in there good. You want to check though. All right, the accelerator pump squirter outer thingy majiggy. I want to see how it's lined up. It is lined up very well. Very good. I want to check it. Make sure it doesn't spin in here. I want to look, make sure it's seated down. It is. How does it compare lengthwise? Very good. Maybe a hair higher, maybe, but there's plenty of room in there. The overflow on this seems to be higher up than this, but very comparable. Now, when I shake this, I do not hear any rattle. Maybe a little. Nothing like this. Get you down by the mic. Hear that? Okay, this one, no rattle. So I do want to see, I'll just use this old arm here off the old Carb. I do want to see if this is going to pump. Feels good. Still no rattle. Okay, I'll put my finger over the hole here, but I got another hole here. I don't know if it's going to work or not. No, I got to cover somehow both holes. Actually, let me pour some gas, fresh, clean gas in here. Then when I squirt that, we should see fuel squirting out of there. All right, I got some fresh gas here. Whole lot better gas. Way too much. Perfect. It's also a good time to see if we're going to have any leaks out of our accelerator pump. I guess it's a good thing to do. There we go. Oh, I see all the air purging out of it. Oh, there it went. Did you see it? Now that I've got fuel in it, let me cover it up if I can and watch it squirt out. Oh yeah, very good. Oh, gosh, I needed a little cleaning, a little bath anyway. All right, very good. I don't mind gas smell. Kind of goes away quick. Boy, I tell you what, I was working on a diesel tractor, my dad's, that he lets me borrow, that's up here. Man, you can't get diesel off of you. You diesel mechanics, how do you live with that? I smelt that diesel on me for at least 4 days, and I showered every day. I don't know. You tell me. But okay, so this is working. I'm happy with this. The gasket looks exactly like the gasket that I replaced with this, a couple years ago. There might be a different design in here that doesn't have that check valve in here anymore. I don't know, but it is working. So far, so good. As far as the spout, the overflow spout, it's in there nice and tight. Yes, it's tight. Did we check these already? I think so. Yes. 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 Okay. Hey, I'm very pleased. This is looking good. Now, thread-wise, these new screws for the float bowl do have a washer. These that came out do not, and they are the exact same thread pitch. Say you strip these out, say you needed a gasket kit, say your diaphragm slide was busted. Hey, I would tell you, if you reached out to me, buy this for 43 bucks. You can change all that. I'm just saying. Now, is that true? Now that I tell you that, will this new slide go down in the CV? Now, let's look at how it's designed here in the top. I need to move this so I don't accidentally pick this up and drink it thinking it's my unsweet tea that my wife just brought me. Dump that out. Recycled that. I'm sorry, not dump, recycled. Okay, so first impressions. Oh, I forgot to say, it does look like it's got the same two little ridges that fit up into the bored out holes, just like the old one. These look like the same things. How do we compare here? Again, I like the brass as opposed to the plastic inlet. Now, I don't know where it's set to as far as air fuel mixture. We might have to play with that. I'm just eyeballing around here. Everything looks the same. Now on the CV carbs, you will see an arrow here which indicates which way the pin goes in and out. Now there's a lot of debate. Is the arrow for taking the pin out? Is the arrow for putting the pin in? You be the judge of that. I don't want to tell you one way or the other. I do know that the Harley CV float pins, they will swell up on you in a minute. They will be very hard to get out. I can't tell you how many of these I've seen break, especially over here, they break. Speaking of that, these are the same step-ups as these over here. Let me get my favorite shop tool out. I did replace this pin, so I know there's no more issues of it swelling up. It comes out really nice. If you're taking apart your CV, hadn't been apart in years, you will not be able to do that. I struggled getting that original one out. Okay, there's our float. I did replace the needle and the float. It's not an issue with that. I even, while Bubba was up here, because he's an old mechanic, and he did the whole float test on this too. He said, man, the float's working. I said, I know. There's got to be a crack somewhere that is letting fuel bypass in here. There's got to be. Let's see how this compares. Oh yeah, nice. Very nice. Comes right out. We'll take our float out and our needle out. Okay, there's that float. There's that needle. Where's my needle? Oh, it's still on there. Okay, there and here. Okay, so let's compare the floats. Okay, it looks like the float height on this is set very different than this. So we'll need to test this off on the bench, see where that float is. I don't see any difference in this except for the molding points. The stopper arm might be a hair longer than this one. Maybe. Okay, so our floats look good. It even has a little cutout there for this tube here. Our needles are drastically different. This has a type of coating on it. It feels, I don't want to push on it too much. Or is that rubber? No, okay, it's rubber. It's a gray rubber. It looks metal. Okay, so it is rubber, good. Okay, here is a difference. This needle is a triangular shape. Now we can take our knife and poke down on the spring there. That's working well, but it is triangular in shape. This needle is squared, so it is different float needle. Push that down. Oh, that's got a better spring than the other one. And this is rubber tipped, although it looks almost gray. Well, maybe that's just the finish coming off. It's looking more black now. Okay, so our needle seats look identical. Now let's get some of these out. The pilot jet, go ahead and get this out. It's a 8mm that I like to use, and you need to be very careful. Go slow. It's brass on aluminum, and over the years these will get brittle, and if you tighten them down too much especially, they will crack. Okay, this looks good and clean. All the holes are still open. Of course, that one will be open. Our pilot looks good. It's good. So there's no debris that got in there and clogged it. Of course, clogging wasn't a problem. It was overflowing that's the problem. Let's take the ones out of here. They didn't feel like they were in there too tight. That's very, very good. Nor too loose. And then let's see if this 8mm. Okay, so this is different. It's rounded. So with that, we will have to take the main jet out. Then we will need to take a bigger flathead to take the main seat out. I can probably do this with my knife there. Take that out. So these are made quite different. There's one hole here for this, one hole here for this. Look at the difference. Look at the difference in size. They're completely different. These holes here, this does not have it. So there is a change then in how it delivers fuel up into the carburetor. Now maybe the newer CVs have this style, I don't know. But if you were wanting to use this from a new carb to go over to your CV, it might still work. It does still thread in. This would still work over here too. So as far as the pilot, they look identical. Now it does come with different sizes, 3 different sizes of both mains and pilots. So I want to see what came out, because I definitely want to match that. If I can't match that, then we'll pull the main out of here and put it in this. The pilot will just drop in the new one. But let's see what both are as a comparison. Get my magnifier out. On the pilot, okay, it's a 42. So this is a 42. Let's see what they put in this Amazon one. Okay, so this is a 45. So it was running fine, so we need to match this. If they don't provide me with a 42, then we will just put that 42 in. So I want to keep these over here. I still don't know what that is. You tell me. Clack it in the comments. But these are all the ones. What is that? That's like a throttle cable thing. Huh. I don't know if that was supposed to go in there or not. Alright, see what we got here. That's a 48. We don't need that one. That's a 45, but I thought we just had a 45. Yeah, so they gave me two 45s. A 48, and then this is the last one. 42, alright. So this is a 42. We'll take this and drop this in there. We'll go ahead and get that seated in. For the main, let's see what we got here. Alright, so our main is a 170. I was thinking I put a 180 in it, but okay, a 170. So what is our main here? It's a 170 as well. Very good. Okay, so we just had to change out that pilot on this to match what was on there. So I don't want to do that. I want to drop this in first. Screw that in. Give just a little bit of oomph on that. Then drop that in. Screw that down. Now, what are the other sizes that it came with? A 190 main, a 180 main, and a 185 main. So it's good that they provide those. I was able to use the 42 on this, so that's very nice that they do that. Now, in the Harley manual, they'll give you the float height, but this is aftermarket. I don't know if the float height's supposed to be different. If we set it the same as the factory manual, is it going to be off? Is it not going to be right? For that, I don't know. Everybody around here is starting to get sick. My mom's sick, my wife's sick. So my wife, in her sickness, brought me out some vitamin C tablets and some elderberry syrup. And an unsweet tea. Oh yeah, she's a keeper. She's a keeper. All right, get her float on there. Go ahead and set you down in there. Our pin, float pin, right back in there. This will do the same. I could visually see that the float height is different on this, but with that a different needle, it might work out to be the same. I don't know. We're about to find out. So on the manual, you would put this at an angle, and then you would do this until it touches the pin. Also, you can hold it up like this, put your mouth over the intake, and see where the fuel stops. And as long as it's kind of level there, you're good. Yep, that one's good. Now let's see where this one is. I'm gonna do it a couple times to check. Yep, it's good. So I'm glad I didn't notice the difference in the settings on the floats and start monkeying with this before I checked it. So it's good. I mean, at this point, there's no reason this is not going to work. As far as the diameter of the intake, it's exactly the same, 40. So we are good. As far as where everything hooks up, let's just start putting everything back together. Accelerator goes in there. We've already checked the accelerator pump. We've already checked that everything is good and tight in there. Oh, where's my boot? Go ahead and put my new boot on there. Go ahead and get it started there. And we'll get it seated down. Go ahead and throw these in. We will tighten these down until they kind of seat down. We'll just get them snug. These screws actually feel normal. They feel really good. Now, I can share with you the link that I bought this from. I can put it in the description and below. I might even go ahead and just add this to my Amazon store because this just seems to be really good. I don't see any issue with this at all. Now, when we get it on the bike and running, then we can adjust our air fuel here a little bit, but I don't think we're going to need to at all. I think this is just ready to rock and roll for us. So I'll go ahead and get the needle. I'll go ahead and get the keeper down in here. I like to go ahead and put my spring in and use it to kind of hold my needle to where it's not coming up on me. And then we can go ahead and visually line up our needle and our needle seat and make sure our rubber is all around here in the valley. It's laying really, really good. And then for here, this has a flat spot and this is a little ridged. But on the top, all four are cut out for ridges. I do not see a difference in height on any of these. So I don't think it matters. I'm saying all that to say this. I don't think it matters the orientation of the cap. And with those little bitty ridges in the cap, it's on there. It's not going anywhere. Maybe they think that's enough to not have the shoulders for these screws. Maybe they think that that ridge in that cap kind of holds. One was longer. Remember, I told you to make sure you get the right one, and I did not make sure. I bet it's that one right there because it's not seated all the way down. No? Okay. It's that one right there. I see it sticking out the bottom. It is that one. Yes. And I should have known because it doesn't have a washer or a lock washer on it. Let me go ahead and stick those shorter ones in so I know I got them right. Then we'll run these down till they touch. Sorry if my arm's in the way. Man's got to work. Now that they're all down, I'm going to snug them down. Again, the thread. The heads of these feel really good. They feel normal. And then this one is longer. It does have this shoulder here that goes down in there. And then this, of course, will go back on. I'm going to try to use this and then adjust my throttle cables. If I run out of slack in my throttle cables, then we'll do something different. I'm not going to tighten this up because I want to get my throttle cables run up in here first. But I am going to go ahead and put them on there. Now I do want to check my diaphragm, make sure I don't have any leaks. Feels fine, sounds fine. I know my accelerator pump's working. We have the jets size that came out of this, so we know that our fuel delivery is going to be the same amount. I'm happy, guys. I'm really impressed. I've never bought a Chinese knockoff carb, but I'm really, really impressed. This looks to be as good as the OEM. And what? A quarter of the price? Really? Now, I do want to go ahead, I almost forgot our choke cable because they put it in separate here, and I want to get the choke cable off this and then we can compare the nozzles and the actual cable. So to get this out, there's really not much room at all to get anything, any wrench up in there. So people usually, because it's plastic, use needle nose pliers and grab it and then twist enough to where they can unscrew it and then eventually just twist the cord out, twist the cable out. It's a pain in the bazier, you know. It's a pain on the old backside to get on and off because you gotta do this and this and this and this and this and this and this until this comes up enough to clear over this, then you can just whoop, wheel it off. It's a pain. I'm hoping that redesign on that other one, on the new one, is a lot better than this. So because it's kind of tedious, time consuming, a lot of people don't check their choke cable, and they should, because these can get really gummed up. So then once it clears over that, you can just do it like that and then bring all this out. So let's see how this compares to our new one. So here's the new one. Looks identical to me. Looks to be about the same diameter, best I can eyeball it. Has the same kind of connection mechanism for the cable. And the thing I like about this, look how high the shoulder is to get a wrench on there compared to the stock one. There's one in here already. I should be able to just twist it out. Okay. That's new. This one does not have a spring in it like that. What is going on here? This has one of these stuck in it with the spring in it already. So how am I? All right, it come out. Huh, okay. Okay, so these are different. No, they're the same. What would they give me 2? Is this like a return or something? I don't know. Maybe they're different styles? I don't know. But the threads are different, definitely different. These might have 4 or 5 threads on them, where this has probably 7 or 8 threads on it. So the thread height is different. Now, does this go into this? It probably does. So it's probably the same thread pitch. I mean, it's plastic. You could make it fit, cross-threaded thing. Yeah, it does. Okay, so if you needed a new choke cable, gasket, float bowl gasket, diaphragm, it's all there. You could use it all. Now, as far as length, okay, this new one is a little longer in length. Now that's fine, because when you get this on and you go to put this on, it's okay if it, you know, has to bend a little. Has the brass nut with the lock grooved washer there, and then this housing here with the plastic that threads on and off. Okay, this one is plastic, but it does have the metal washer. And you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, maybe this is better, because here's why. You know how many of these I've seen broken? And do you know why? Because this is metal. And anytime you put a tool to metal, you just want to wrench it. And people over tighten these, and it breaks this right here. It separates this whole ability to thread to get the choke cable tied against the bracket that holds it when it breaks. And so often people will zip tie them up to keep them up. So maybe, I was going to swap it out, but hey, maybe with it being plastic, you don't run the risk of over tightening it. This has a little rubber boot that goes on over the knurled knob. Kind of helps you to grip it a little better. I like it. Man, hey. So, okay, I'm sold on it now, guys and gals. Dare I say, this looks to be a better carb. It looks to have improvements on it. It just looks that way. Let's get this, now that we got all that out, let's get this one in, and then we'll thread it, start threading it in, because it is plastic and you're going into metal, and it's sometimes hard to get started and lined up where it's not being cross-threaded. There we go. And I'm already liking this more. And watch this. Since there's a cutout back here, and since there's more room down here, I can actually get a wrench on this now and tighten this down. Now it is plastic, remember that, but I can actually tighten this now. You can't do that on that. And if you look at where, you know, you just try to get in there best you can, even this height right here is shorter than this height right here. And look how much room you've got. This is with it all the way down. I like it. I'm just going to say I like this. All right, so at this point, this carburetor is done and ready to go on. And I have an extra choke needle. I have an extra spring for it. And I've got an extra cap too that I'll put actually in the bag of our needles. All right, so at this point, I don't see any reason this should not just fire off and run great. I want to take it down the road. I want to go over everything on the carb as far as acceleration, decel, snapback, throttle position, all that. I want to go over all that on the bike. Well, I'm not going to ride the bike until I drop all that oil and gas out, change the filter, change the oil, and then take it down the road. Okay, the carburetor is on. A couple of differences in as far as fitting it. The bracket looks like it's not going to fit with this head, but the throttle bracket, but once you actually get it back up in there, it does clear the head. Also on this choke cable, see how this comes out and takes a hard turn right here? The new one does not. So it kind of loops out, but on this Sportster, there is room for it. So if you, worst case scenario, you would just take this off here You could actually use the cable, the new cable, use the new screw-in fitting, everything. You would just be changing out this right here. No big deal. So as far as adjusting on the cables, I did have to bring the cables out. Remember, this bracket seemed to be in the pull side about a 1/2 inch shorter. On the pushback side, almost what, 1.5 inches shorter. So I don't know if you can see this or not, but right here is on the pushback. That's where it used to be set, and then now it's set out here. And on the pull throttle, that's where it used to set, now it's set out there. So I did have room to adjust, and now I got great throttle response. Great snapback, very good. So I think this is going to work just like it is. As far as bolting up, yeah, it's going to bolt up just like that right there. The choke went back on well. Remember, it was a little bit longer, but you can just kind of bend it around how you need to. The only thing I don't like is my choke cable says choke and it's sideways. There's a groove into this thread part right here that only lets the bracket, only lets it go up in the bracket one orientation. So it's either down like this or up the other way. I do like the plastic nut on the back. I like that because I can do it with my fingers. I know how tight I'm getting it. I do like this rubber boot they put over the knurl thing here, because now you pull the choke out, it stays out. That's how it's supposed to operate. You can adjust the sensitivity of it pulling in and out by this right here, but sometimes it's hard to turn because it's plastic knurled and you can't really get anything up in there to turn it. So I really like this addition of this little rubber boot. It's simple, but it works great. If I run into any troubles with it after putting it together and going down the road, if I have to make any adjustments with it, I will make sure to comment in this video to let you know what I had to do to tweak it. As far as I can tell, I've done thousands and thousands of these. It's as if I had bought a brand new Harley CV Carb. There were some little differences, but there were a lot of good upgrades. You know we gotta fire it up. You know that. Now I won't be able to ride it down the road and kind of fine tune it, but does this even work? Will it even bark off? Will it not be enough power? We can definitely try that. I did throw the new petcock in, super simple. Adjustable wrench, take the old one out, throw the new one in. The old one seemed to be operating fine, but who knows? Well, I got fuel, did put some fuel in the tank, just a little bit. I'm hoping I got enough. Headlights are on, run stop. Carburetor choke is out. I'm gonna hold the carb on there because I don't have the air cleaner on there to hold it up, and my breather bolt's in. So, a couple of pumps. Cross your fingers. I've not set the idle yet. That's full choke. Choke's off. Did it even choke? Well, there you go. I would call that a success. $43. Unbelievable. At the beginning of this video, if you'd have told me I would be so happy with a Chinese knockoff $43 carb on a Harley, I'd have said, you're nuts. Bananas. Well, I guess I'm bananas. I'm going to buy the slew out of these, if not alone, just for the parts that I can use off of it. To me, that's a cheaper way to go, And you got an extra throttle body just in case. Now, I've not been down the road on it. I don't know how it's going to be. Is it going to be finicky about adjusting things on it? I don't think so. The design looks pretty much the same. I'm very happy with this. So I feel comfortable putting a link down there for you if you'd like to pick you up one. It's $43 and some change. It was here in a couple days with Prime. I wasn't expecting this video to go the way it's went. It's impressed me. And if you're picking up a cheap bike or trying to revive a bike and just want to throw something on temporary, spend 43 bucks and throw it on there. I mean, it'll do hopefully what it's supposed to do. It looks like it's going to. I don't see any issues with it. There's literally no complaints. Because there was no major things that I'm like, well, this ain't gonna work, we need to do that. No, it all worked great. It all worked great. Now, I'm not gonna run it any more than that because the oil's got gas in it. And, oh, whoa, yeah, now it's over full. Okay. So I'm glad we decided not to go down the road on it. Wow. I'm glad we turned it off when we did. So I'll drop this oil, change filter, flush the case out, new filter, new oil, attack those fork seals, and then this bike is ready to go back for our customers and subscribers to enjoy. If I do find something wrong with it, if I've had to tweak something, I will put it in the description and I'll pin it to the top. I'll make a comment or something of what I had to do or what I needed to go back and change. We just did our 8K giveaway 2 days ago, and already by the time we recorded that, we had hit 9,000 subscribers. So we'll be giving away 9 things here very, very soon. You'll be seeing a video of that. Then we've got to get our 10K bike on the road, then get all of our fenders and tank, all of our tins off to have it customized by our great friend Spears, Paint by Spears. If you've not checked his channel out, please do. Then I picked up a project bike for us to do, and it is awesome. I'm excited about that. So hang out, stick around, and thank you so much for just hanging out in the shop with me this week and looking at new cheap carbs versus old very expensive carbs. And tell your mama now I said hi.